I'm sure we all have great memories of growing up with video games. Whether it be nostalgia from one of your favorite classics or hatred for a game that just ended up being a huge mess. Experiences are what shape us and what we grow from. But sometimes, games don't fall into the simple binary of good or bad. Sometimes it's a little more blurry than that. It may sound weird, but the beginning, middle, and end of a game can all end up being radically different as far as game design goes.
That brings us to Fable 2. Yes, there was a time where this was the main focus of my life. I'd wake up, go to school, rush home, and then play Fable 2 until I fell asleep. I don't remember why I was so taken by this game, but one thing that's clear is that something about it left a weird impression on me. The problem is that I couldn't put my finger on exactly why. I remember that I really liked it, but also that I really hated it. How can that be possible?
So in the name of science, I decided to replay the whole game and solidify my thoughts on it instead of just saying, oh yeah, Fable 2 sucks, every time somebody asked me about it in 2013, where everybody's talking about Fable 2.
I have to say that upon completing the game my second time around, everything became so clear to me. Fable 2 actually doesn't suck. Like, almost at all. The bulk of the gameplay is fun and engrossing, the world is immersive, the characters are endearing and memorable, the music is fantastic, the story is even pretty cool. So why have I hated it for so long? Well, to be fair, there are quite a few negatives to this game. I mean, it's extremely buggy, and even after all the patches, there are still way too many glitches that really slow down the game. The dog is a horrible feature. It's honestly more of an annoyance than a lovable best friend. And the game forces this hand-holding mechanic on you in the form of the light trail that guides you through each quest. But on the other hand, without its presence, the navigation becomes almost impossible. Not to mention, that is also bugged to hell. See what I mean? Dead Space did something similar, but not only was it optional, it actually worked when you needed it. But really what it boils down to is this. Fable 2 is a wonderful example of how to completely and totally fumble the ending of a game. That, coupled with a very slow, very tedious, and unnecessarily boring starting sequence, really put me at an odd middle ground on my thoughts for this game. Let me explain. In the intro, which consists of 2 back-to-back tutorials, your sister is killed by this guy, Lucian. He's the main bad guy, who then turns and tries to kill you. At this point, the developers pretty blatantly break the fourth wall in the loading screen to justify why you're still alive, and then you set out on your quest to take revenge on Lucian. The intro is boring, but it does well to give you a drive to want to kill Lucian. You are now motivated. After 20 to 30 hours of gameplay, the payoff of this motivation is such a letdown that it made me instantly lose any desire to continue playing the post-game both times that I beat it. The final sequence goes something like this. Spoiler alert if you're like 7.
Look at you go! How incredibly wonderful!
Great.
How
Just
did you
great.
know I like that?
I mean, that stuff.
Good, even.
You're ambushed by Lucian with your 3 hero companions. Your dog takes a bullet for you in a very cliche way, and after that he shoots you anyway, and you go into one of the worst dream sequences I've ever had the misfortune of experiencing. You awake in a happy little home with your sister in this meadow and whatnot, and you do mindless and meaningless collectathons for way too long. The bottle shooting in particular is way too spread out and can get frustrating, wasting your time and really killing this mood of urgency you had just a few minutes ago. After all of your spirit has been leached from your body, you finally escape the dream and wake up right in front of Lucian with that music box from the intro. How convenient. The first time this happened, I got really excited. I was ready for the climactic game-ending boss fight that I was about to take part in. But what actually happens is a short cutscene and some dialogue followed by the game prompting you to press the Y button, killing Lucian. Yep, that's the whole ending. To add insult to injury, Teresa gives you the magical ability to wish for absolutely anything your heart desires, and then limits you to 3 options, which all suck. My income at this point of the game was already huge, and I hated the dog mechanic, so that pretty much left me with revive everybody as my only option. But the main point here is that I put over a day of effort into this game to be rewarded with a colossal letdown of a final sequence. It really marred an overall good game. Aside from some shaky bits in the middle with the story, the rest of Fable 2 is an incredible piece of work. I enjoyed the middle section so much, but it's capped on both ends with a less than good intro and an absolutely god-awful ending. This makes looking back on this game very complicated. How do I connect a rating to something that hits almost the entire spectrum of good and bad design? Well, in no surprise, this game got a ludicrously high Metacritic score of 89. Multiple reviewers gave it a 9 out of 10, or in a few cases, a full-blown 10 out of 10. Though I never blindly follow the reviews of others and I prefer to decide for myself, these scores pose a question.
In this unusual balancing act, does the main chunk of Fable 2 being good make up for the bad parts? Or do all the game's shortcomings overshadow everything positive that it has to offer? Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. You can subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you next time.
Oh, I thought it'd never shut up.
Hey, wait a second. That guy looks a little bit familiar.
Just like a Sunder.